the problem is, Johnny, I tend to forget. Like, I'll set up a couple of courses, get them working fine, and I might not need to set up a course again for 4 or 5 days. By the time I need to set up a new one, I'm like, oh shit, how did I do that? And then I'll try for like 10 or 15 minutes to figure it out, and it's like, fuck it. Where's my YouTube link again?
Well,
That's
the
what
only
I mean by
reason
we long.
the only reason I don't mess with course play is I know I can't use it in multiplayer. So why should I bother to try to learn it?
But now you're not playing multiplayer, you're playing single player.
Because
Right now,
learning how to use it is going to make your life a lot easier, and B, it'll challenge you.
Course play is a completely different style of playing the game. Course play is all about management. Managing your time and managing your courses. It's not so much about doing the harvesting and stuff yourself.
I agree.
When you're using course
But
play, it
that's-
actually is. It's more like what you would see on some of the big farms, like what a lot of these maps are designed like. You're not going to sit there and do everything yourself on a lot of the size farms that these maps are. So you're going to have people doing it for you.
Yeah, but you can't play course play on a multiplayer server. So, although 99% of the time I'm playing on a multiplayer server by myself, thus sort of single player, I can't run course play on there. But anyway, I was trying to give KW a hats off because what he showed me, man, it blew my mind. It's like, how the heck did you do this by yourself? He started showing me around, and I just, my jaw dropped. Course play is a different story. It's a different way of gameplay. That's if you're going to be single player only. And you start laying out the courses. And basically, as you move along and you gain ground, you get more fields, you lay it out. End of game is when you've got them all laid out and the whole map is basically running itself, pretty much.
Yep.
You have nothing to do.
Now, there's only one map that I ever spent the time to do that on. I think it was... what the hell? States V8. States map version 8 and 15. And I literally had that map completely automated from start to finish. I mean, every field seeded itself, every crop was baled, picked up, sold. You name it, it done it. All the animals were fed. There was salon barns and stuff there. The animals were picked up. Now it was just completely automated. Had to set weight points at a few different places. So basically, that machine would arrive at the weight point, then I would load it, and then it would go on and sell to another weight point, and then I would sell it. Stuff like that. I had it completely and totally automated.
And there's nothing wrong with that kind of gameplay.
I tell you, it was not.
Nothing wrong with it.
It was not simple. You gotta
No.
you gotta work out in your head straight away. Are you going to run the map clockwise or anti-clockwise? That's the first thing you gotta understand, and then you gotta work out, right, what routes am I going to make my vehicles take in and out of farms? See, States V8 was very much suited for that because there was entrance and exits of the farm everywhere. Don Diego, you could do it in Don Diego, no problem. It's the same way. You can run a clockwise system or an anti-clockwise system on Don Diego because the farm's central. Now, if the farm's not central or there's multiple farms, then it gets more difficult because you're going to have crossing points.
That's what I watched on a stream with somebody getting really in depth with course play. And I really liked the streamer, but I ended up unfollowing him. But I will not go into why.
Now,
He
I
was
will.
showing how I don't remember what map he was on even. If the courses intersect each other, you sometimes have to change the course slightly so that when both are running at the same time, they don't run into each other.
I'm wondering if I still got my PV 2.2 save game for 15.
With cosplay, now Johnny can correct me here, if you've got two vehicles on the same path, one of them will always take priority and the other one will stop and wait.
In 17 version, yes. In 15, no. They would have just smashed into each other.
I'm thinking in the early stages of 17 it didn't either.
No.
I'm thinking they crashed into each other.
No, no, I don't think they did because there is a collision built into the game. Like if you've all used hired workers in 15 and 17,
Well, okay,
right?
by crashed into each other, I meant they both met up and neither one would go anywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
Sorry.
in 17 there is a collision involved in the map, or in the hired workers up there, because you see it, instead of a vehicle getting wrapped around a tree now, it stops and tells you hired worker is blocked by an object. So I think that was the reason why they could implement certain things in Courseplay this time around that they couldn't last year. Because it's actually in the game.
Johnny, that's very likely. Because what I'm talking about when I was really interested in looking at Courseplay, it wasn't in FS15. It was not in 17. The only reason I've not messed with it is because I can't do it on a server.
Actually, I haven't messed about with Courseplay in such a long time. My Courseplay is probably really outdated. Because the last time I was messing around with it, they were bringing out updates to it pretty much every single day.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, I'm way behind in Courseplay. I haven't updated in, God, I don't even know how long.
I think the concept is very, very interesting because I come from a background where I sold equipment that did automation. I don't even know if y'all even know what the hell it is. A PLC.
To me, a PLC's a public limited company. That's what a PLC means to me.
Programmable logic controller. It's equipment automation. You got inputs, you got outputs, analog, digital, and you control a machine with it. That's what I used to do for a living.
That's pretty interesting, actually, to me. Then all the other people in here would be, what the fuck are you talking about? To me, that sounds really interesting. So. Oh shit, this doesn't need play. Thought I played it earlier on.
I'll probably get back on the farm sim here before too long.
Before officially working in IT, I mean, I've messed with computers since 1979, but I, for many years, worked at a company with machine automation equipment. And that was the most interesting job that I ever got offered in my life. Sadly, the guy that hired me originally and gave me the opportunity has passed away. He ended up with Alzheimer's.
It's a pity.
Um,
One way I don't want to go.
Me either. Just let me go to sleep and not wake up. He sort of was still there, but not. But anyway, I don't want to drag everybody down. My point is, that's my opinion of course play. Is it's kind of like machine automation stuff that I used to work with. I would get a call from a customer, and it's like, okay, I got this, and I want to do this. Can you help me? It's like, okay, well, let's set up a sales call. I'll come out, take a look at what you want to do, and I'll come up with what the best products that we've got to automate this. And we also offer help with programming this stuff, but that's an extra fee.
Yeah.
And I worked on many projects that were, man, it was awesome working with the customer, teaching them how to do it and how to automate it and get the equipment up and running.
Oh, I'll have to get it down back. There's $6 on the ground he missed. Sorry, go ahead.
You turn the switch on, basically. I say turn the switch on. Basically, you turn on the software and the equipment and watch what happens, and it's Johnny, it's amazing.
Oh yeah, a few years back when I was working for my father full time, we got cattle meal in bulk bags, right? So it was blown into big bins, 24 ton at a time, and we used to bag that out into 40 kilo bags by hand. Now, on a good day, if you were going hard, you could do 18 ton, right? But that was really killing yourself, right? Because you'd have to take the forklift, load the hopper held about 1.5 tons, load the hopper, put the hopper back on top of the bagger, connect each bag individually, fill it, take them off, stitch them up, stack them on a pallet, right? So, 25 bags to a pallet. You were going well, you had 18, 20 ton done a day. We then bought a palletizer. Now, you still had to hook the bag on, fill it by hand, fill the hopper by hand, or fill the hopper with the forklift, put it back up and stuff, and fill the bag by hand and stitch it, and then drop it onto a small conveyor belt. And the conveyor belt would take it in and drop it into a palletizer, and the palletizer would build it for you. It was great. That meant we get up to like 26, 28 ton a day. It was right. It was about a 10% or 20% increase. So my father then got looking into it, and he found there was automatic stitcher. So we got the automatic stitcher, and we also got bins that fed directly into the hopper. So basically, I'd actually done the wiring for the bins. It was a motor with a big auger on them. Obviously, big 3-phase motor, auger on them. Auger, what? Aren't only 7 horsepower motors. Weren't that big. We didn't pull that much power. Pull it up into the bin, and then all you had to do was literally hook the bag on, pull a handle. The bag would fill the 40 kilos. You unhook the bag, and you dropped it into the automatic stitcher, which fed it into the conveyor and onto the palletizer. So instead of getting like 26, 28 ton a day, you were suddenly doing 40 ton a day. So it just proves how much automation made, and it still didn't do a man out of a job, because a man still had to be there. One person was all it ever took for bagging anyway. But instead of that person going home every day with a busted back, it really did relieve a lot of the pressure on you too, especially at the end of each month. If you were coming up into the last week of the month and there was 60 ton of meal sitting in the bins, that 60 ton had to be bagged out that week. There was nothing allowed to be in the bins for the first of the month. for stock take reasons.